the time to join us today. So we're going to be talking a little about spices and Indian food, and probably going to get off topic a lot. But we've done some changes that I have to talk about too, so I won't forget. Absolutely. So hardest job on campus. So Indian food. Personally, one of my favorite, if not my favorite right now. Came to it late in life as I started looking at eating a lot more vegetables and plant-based proteins instead of meat. I just was marveled at the broad selection of incredible, vegetable-centered dishes in Indian cuisine. But it can be a little intimidating. I'm a food professional. I was intimidated. So many different spices, and everybody in the food business telling you can eat this only with this and that. Too many rules in food. So I think I say it every time. Throw all the food rules away. Just cook food that you like and it tastes good to you and the people that you're with. That should be the only rule, I think. And be respectful with the food. So we have a lot of different spices. We're going to talk about the dish today, which is the cauliflower tikka masala. And you guys have probably heard of chicken tikka masala. That's, it's the British dish, actually, supposedly. And it's very contested over where it started, who came up with it. Some people say it was in a Indian restaurant in Glasgow, and that really got pushed for a long, long time. There's other people that say it started in Mumbai over 60 years ago. And personally, I think it's a variation of butter chicken, which did start in India, in Mumbai, many years ago. That's just my 2 cents. So really, if you break it down, one of the main spices that you use in Indian cuisine is garam masala. And masala, just so we know, is spice mix. That's what masala means. So anything that says something masala, paneer kulcha masala, paneer tikka masala, whatever it may be, it just means spice mix. Okay? We're going to talk now about garam masala, which is one of the more famous ones, and it's the basis of a lot of dishes. And garam means hot. That's what it means. So hot spices, hot spice mix. But hot isn't for spicy. Hot is, I don't want to butcher the name, so I'm not going to say it, but there's a holistic medicine based out of India, and it's all mixed around different spices, like they're anti-inflammatory. And garam really means it's about the reaction in your body. It raises the core temperature of your body, this mix, and that's kind of where it comes from. So that's really garam masala. And you can buy garam masala anywhere, by the way. You can go to Trader Joe's. I know Harris Teeter has a great one as well. But it's really a mixture of 6 to 8 different spices. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to try to get on topic very quick. And I just, like you guys know, we've been before, I like to spend time in the kitchen, so I like to make things more difficult for myself than they should be. But I take a lot more pride in them after. So we're going to talk about making our own garam masala today. We're going to make it from scratch here. And again, in the vein of taking food rules out, garam masala, we're going to talk about the basic spices. I think that's the recipe you have in front of you. But add anything you want to it. Take away anything you don't like from it. Every single region, town, just like my chicken piccata is not going to be the same as the chicken piccata from the house next door. Garam masala is the same thing. It's different spices. It's what your mother put in there, a little more, a little less, and so forth. So, I guess we're going to start with the recipe, right? Should we move on to that? Okay, well, so spices. I encourage everybody to dip your fingers or spoons and try every single different spice. I just, pick it up, smell it. It's, cooking is about your senses. Really the smell and the taste on the palate and trying to figure out what that spice is going to do. Because some of them are very aromatic, some of them are smokier, some of them are going to add depth of flavor to a dish, some of them are going to add spice. The idea is that Indian cuisine, especially the aromatic part of it, it's engaging a lot more of your senses as the food is traveling into your mouth hole. Okay, so we're going to start making the sauce for the cauliflower garam masala. And we'll start with, well, first of all, we should have had mustard seed. I think that's one of the ones that we forgot to bring. Or very well could have been me saying, I'll bring mustard seed, because I have way too much of it in my house. So let's talk about some of the things around Indian cuisine and why it can be intimidating maybe to some people. Just don't get intimidated. Don't let food ever intimidate you. But for example, we're going to talk about some things that we're going to use when we're doing curries. You're going to hear a lot about fresh ginger. Okay? We use ginger powder today. I personally love fresh ginger. But one of the things about fresh ginger is really what else are we going to use it in, right? So then you get a little piece of ginger, you grate a little of it, and if you're me, you feel horrible about the fact that you're going to throw the rest of the nub in there. So what are we going to do with it? Many, many different things that you can do. But, you know, if you're a baker, bake muffins, add ginger to them, you know. If you like to drink tea, you know, grate ginger into it. If you want to make your own dish plus ginger, do that, you know. If you want to do, I never cooked this before and I'm going to cook it with ginger now dish, do that. You know, it's a lot of fun. So let's talk about mustard seed too. You hear mustard seed, sell them in containers this big. We'll go, you add a little mustard seed here until it pops, and what do we do with the rest of the mustard seed? Same things that we did before, add your dish, add mustard seed. That doesn't really work well, so I'll tell you. Fun thing to do with mustard seed, make mustard. It's not hard at all. It's very, very simple. Take mustard seed, vinegar, boil in a container, done. It's as simple as that. You can add ginger to it too. And you can add wasabi to it or horseradish. Just play around. You can add honey to it. You can make your own honey mustard made at home with seeds in there, the seeds that pop. You can make your own million things, you know. Let's stop buying things at the store. It's cheaper to make them at home, less ingredients. You know what mustard from home has? What we just talked about. Vinegar, heat, mustard seed. Check a bottle of mustard. You'll be surprised how many things go into a bottle of yellow mustard, including yellow dye number 4, probably. But, sorry, I get off topic. But, so, what we're trying to do now is we're going to prepare a sauce here, / marinade, which would normally use yogurt in the Indian tradition. We are going to use coconut milk to keep it vegan. But in that same vein, coconut milk is curry. Again, off topic, but here we go. This is a Punjabi dish, which is from the north of India. You take one more step north, you're in Pakistan. So the cuisine there, while Indian, and while the Indian people and their cuisine have made it famous, I have a lot of Pakistani friends, and you know they might agree or disagree about the origins of it. But that whole region, just like in Spain, we have our Basque region, which is a little French, a little Spanish, neither of them, if you ask them. You know, you see those traditions and influences. So that's where this is from. And curry is just that area, you know, right through where the spice trade used to be. And that's how food was preserved. So you will see that same interaction of spices and a dairy, if you will, coconut milk, yogurt, cream, whatever it may be, in the different areas. So as we move, for example, from India, where it's like yogurt and ginger, we transition into Southeast Asia, where it'll be lemongrass and coconut milk, if you will. But the base of the curry, you know, red and green curries, in Thailand usually, it's the same thing, just different. But the same, you know, like all food, like everybody, you know. We're unique, just like everybody else. So, yeah, nobody wants to hear my philosophical wanderings. So, okay, mustard seed until they pop. Blah, 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 blah. Then onions, jalapeno, whatever else you may want, a garlic, and we're going to start with the sauce now. So, take the sauce ingredients, which is the tomato, right? Yes. Everybody's so quiet. Sure.
How do you feel about canned tomatoes or canned fresh tomatoes?
I think anybody who's been here before can give you that answer. But no, okay, so here we go. Yeah, I feel about canned tomatoes like I feel about all canned food, and that comes from my snobbery about food. But as Miss Jolly would probably say, canned tomatoes just as good, right? So, and a lot of people like canned tomatoes, also because they don't have the skin, they're easy to cook with and everything. What I would tell you is go to your farmer's market, buy plum tomatoes, put a pot of water to boil, throw the tomatoes in there very, very rapidly, take them out, peel the skin off of it, there you got your canned tomatoes. With no can. That goes back into the landfill. So, because nobody recycles, really. I mean, let's really be honest with ourselves. There you go. Canned tomatoes and everything are great in the winter. You know, I mean, it allows us to, you know, have fresh vegetables, just like frozen ones are. That's somebody tells me all the time. And again, we couldn't do half of the things we do if we didn't have IQF fruit. So if you're going to get frozen fruit, get IQF, individually quick frozen. Individually quick frozen. Oh, sorry. Everybody has the thing. I'm in my own little mind now. I'm thinking, what am I going to cook next? So here we go. This recipe calls for green peppers. I added red peppers because I'm just that way. But it's tomatoes, green red bell peppers, fresh cilantro, and we're going to add the coconut milk here. It would be yogurt if we were doing it traditionally. No, you can't boil a coconut. Coconut milk actually comes from grating and pressing. But good jokes. You got jokes. I like that. I got jokes too. You'll see. I've been told I cannot do any of my jokes. There we go. Coconut milk. The coconut milk is throwing me off. Sure. I use can. I've never seen them in the dairy section, so I'm going to have to look for them there. Okay. And you know what? Coconut, you could use soy milk and add shredded coconut to it. I mean, you know, coconut milk is delicious, though, by the way. I mean, I personally would substitute this on everything instead of yogurt or any other milk. But super fatty, though, right? She's my expert. Like all this, she told me to say. Yeah. Okay. Well, no. Yeah. It's good fat. I've been told I need to be very gentle with this Vitamix. Okay, so the beginning of the sauce, marinade. So we saw the dish there. Does somebody take a guess maybe what more we want to do with this? Yeah, we're going to do the spices. I think some people would say maybe it needs a little more coconut milk. So it's, again, as you saw, I have no idea how much of everything you need to put in there. I put in what I would have liked. That's kind of what I try to do everywhere, with everything. Whatever suits my fancy should be the right amount. This is unsafe, don't do this. Yes, onions, jalapeno, garlic, mustard seed. So most recipes, and again, if you've been here before, people say that I take way too long to cook. I have nothing to do with my life, so why rush it? But most recipes will say, cook until onions are translucent, 5 minutes. That's like saying, do 50 sit-ups until you're Brad Pitt. If you want an onion to be translucent, you can't cook it for 5 minutes. You got to cook it for considerably more time than that, unless you really want the onion to be translucent for a short period of time, as it's passing from translucent to burnt. And if the heat is high, it's coming at you very, very fast. So good luck stopping it somewhere in the translucent stage. See, but you cook it at low heat, you let it take its time. Also, don't use tablecloths in your kitchen. It's very wasteful. So then we go back in here. And now we're going to cook it, high heat. Then lower it and cover it. And so we're going to cook it for the cauliflower 10-15 minutes until it's soft with a cover, and then we're going to take the cover off and continue cooking it. And so what are we doing then? We're reducing it, exactly. which is going to make it thicker, which is going to concentrate the flavor. Whenever somebody says reduction, that basically means removing water. Okay, so everything comes with water in it. Water carries no flavor, it dilutes flavor. So every time you're doing a reduction, you're going very, very slow through an extended period of time so as not to change the flavors, but to remove all the water from it. And then you have a very nice concentration of flavor. It's like when you're doing caramelized onions. You're doing basically the same thing. You're making, a reaction, a chemical reaction within the onion to create the sweetness. So like if you see anybody caramelizing onions, adding sugar to them, that's just the fast trick. You can caramelize onions very quickly if you heat them and you just dump sugar into them. But that's not really what you want to be doing. Unless you like to take shortcuts. Huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to bring it to a boil and lower it and then simmer it. Again, it's like what you're doing with the heat and how much time you're spending it. So there's a difference between something boiling and simmering and something being at a rolling boil, where something reaches the boiling point and then you continue to add heat so that temperature goes even higher. So, it'll boil at 100 degrees centigrade, but it'll continue to boil at 120 and it will cut the milk. I don't know what the temperature amount is. I'm not going to pretend that I do, but that is what is happening. I don't know what temperature the milk is going to curdle and separate, but it will. It will actually will. So when you're doing pastas, for example, if you're going to do like a vodka sauce, they'll tell you to add the cream all the way at the end most of the time, because you really want it as the temperature is receding. Because milk also it's adding a creaminess, really. That's what you're trying to do. And again, as you build dishes, and I probably said it before, what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a lot of different things. People talk about umami and what is it, but the reality is you're trying to engage a lot of different parts of your tongue, that carries 5 flavors. Okay? And then so you want to do texture, acid, bitter, heat. Those are the different things that you want to do. So when you get something and it feels like very, very heavy, add a vinegar, a cutting agent to it, So you're going to do, let's say for example, great dish that I love. You do, we got to go back and make the sauce. I mean the spice, but sorry. Cochinita pibil. It's a very, very traditional Mexican dish for tacos. And cochinita pibil is like basically like a Boston butt that's been reduced. So very fatty, delicious, but it's just too much. So what do you do with it? You add pickled onions to it, which gives it a little crunch, which gives it a little vinegar, which melts away the fat. And it's a perfect dish. Let's do that. Jump in. Okay, I think I'm missing some stuff there. Yes, I am. But we will start with the spices. Okay, so here's the fun part. So you get all these different spices: bay leaf, cinnamon, chili powder, turmeric, clove, cardamom, anise pods. So you see, for example, like when I make garam masala, I use anisette. I use star anise. That's very important to me and mine. We don't have it here. It's not in the traditional one, but it's in Ken's traditional one, which contains 0% Indian influence. So it's just me trying to go at that spice. But again, it's just having fun with spices. So what you would do normally is you would get all these different spices, and then you dry them in the sun. You just let the sun do the work for you. You just put it on your roof or in a special place. When I lived in Honduras, we used to roast our coffee on the tin of our garage. We had coffee plants, and we would throw it all in the tin and just let the sun dry them. So you do the same thing with this. Or if not, you set your oven at 170 degrees Fahrenheit, probably the lowest setting, and you can just roast them in the oven. Roast them separately. Why would we roast every single thing separately? That, and also because a Boston butt and an egg take completely different times to cook, just like a cinnamon stick and a bay leaf take completely different times to dry. So if you put them all together, you take them all out. Some of them are going to be great. Most of them are not. So we would do that. Then you throw them all in the grinder, which I'm not going to do because some of the things we have really are just already in powders. You want me to jump? Okay, well, here we go. Yeah. Coffee grinder, that's what I use to make mustard also. Yeah. Yeah, so coffee grinder, that's what I have as well. I use that to make mustard as well. You could throw half of the mustard seeds inside, grind them, mix them with the regular mustard seeds, and then put vinegar. Or the other thing, you know, not that, you know, I mean, because I know I am the only one who's up late at night watching infomercials, but in case you have nothing better to do, the bullet, the little magical bullet thing, huh? The ninja thing that they call it now, they're making everything. Like I went to the store the other day, they're peddling coffee machines now, those people. But hey, good for you, right? The ninja bullet, now they do coffee also. Okay. Oh, mierda. Cool. Cool. Okay, well, so another thing while I'm talking. I normally, so we serve this with basmati rice, that's pretty standard, and naan, which is like the flatbread cooked in a tandoori oven. I wanted us to make naan today. Because, again, when you're doing things and taking your time, you can make your own naan at home. It's actually very, very easy. It's not all that complicated. Ginger powder, yeah. Just take some, get some yeast, not rapid, dry. Put it in a bowl of warm water. Put it out in the sun for 15 to 25 minutes. Let it begin working on the water and fermenting, and you're going to see like a foam come on it, and it's going to smell very yeasty and pungent. You're on the right track if it smells that way. And while you let that sit, you're going to mix the dough. It's going to be flour and yogurt, really, and water. Yeah, different with yogurt. I've never done it. Funky, but good, very tacky. It'll stick to your hands. Get ready, it's very different. And then after that, it proofs in just a couple of hours. So it's very simple. Like where if you're going to make bread, it might be a 5 to 7 hour ordeal sometimes, depending on what you're doing. You can make naan from scratch. 3 hours will be done. So if you're doing a curry, or you're roasting spices, or you're reading a book, or you're listening to music, you should do all that in your kitchen all the time.
So kind of thinking of this garam masala mix from like the actual cookies that you're crushing the cinnamon sticks and
Yeah.
putting in the spices. But the recipe that you guys have is for the already powdered
What was that? No, really, I didn't hear you. Yeah, I'm in charge. Who would have guessed it? This is not mine, as you can see. So I'm sure there's a better way to do it than this. Oh, this has so much cinnamon on it. I kind of went overboard. Oh, it's mine. You cannot have it. I'm going to need that, by the way, because it's going in here. By the way, we're testing the thing, and we're right there if you want to come see it. You want to see what it looks like when it's about to separate? Come on. Because you can't be shy here, because I'm not. What'd you do with my garam masala? You see there, like if it starts to bubble too much, you see how it's still good. It's still okay, but that's where you want to lower it, you see? If you don't want, oh, thank you. Well, here, throw in how much you want. Isn't that nice?
Cinnamon.
There you go. Too cinnamony. I think so, but you know, you tell me. I don't know. It's yours. I think that's enough. Slow it down, girl. That's just that's it. Okay, thank you. Well, I can tell you a story too if you want to, since you're up here. But okay. And so cilantro, we'll put that in at the end. You can put a little at the beginning just for flavor, if you will. But all green, all fresh herbs, always at the end. And by the way, have herbs at your house. Something else that just throw it in there. You'd be surprised. Also, just like these pestos, you can only use this, you can only use that. Use anything, you know. Just chimichurris, anything like that. Oil, acid, spice. I mean, fresh herb, salt, pepper. Really not much more to do. So we'll let this little guy cook. I don't know, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes until the cauliflower is soft. Take the lid off, let it reduce until you're happy with it. Remember that hot, more liquidy than cold. So when you think it's not ready, it's probably ready. So you let it go. And so you'll hear a lot in people when they talk in food, oh, you can always add, but you can never take away. You've heard that before? That's actually not true with everything in food, because you can't take away water. You just cook it a little more. So never be afraid of water is what I'm trying to get at, because you cannot take away spice. You can't. You just have to make more then. You know, add more product to make it more. With the water, you can't take it away, so you just add it to it. Understand, though, that the second that we're adding water, what are we doing? Thank you. Diluting the flavor in it. And it does not matter how much you reduce it, it will carry that salt. Everything that's soluble in the water will be leaving sometimes, some part of it with the water. So we need to make sure that it's properly seasoned. How do you make sure that something's properly seasoned? Do you wait till the guy who you served it to says, God, this is bland? No, you see, this is why I cook with these things. Because you just got to taste everything. I actually have a giant sack of them at my house. Just taste everything. That's how you know if it's done, or if it tastes good. So I think this has way too much cinnamon on it. It's your fault, by the way. I'm going to blame you. It doesn't. Oh, that is so good. It is. I don't know. I want to talk some more. Anybody want to talk? Yeah. Please, jump right in. That is spicy. Well done. Needs salt and pepper, though. That shit is spicy. Fuck yeah. Don't be shy.